combat is the brawling bread and butter that defines gaming action. Operating within each system, your ability to resist is defined by numerous individual designs working together to make combat engaging. I find these singular nuances compelling not only for their impact on a single game, but for their potential impact their innovation provides. Over time, the best features and philosophies are used to refine how developers design battle overall. Today, I want to share the best of these combat elements I've personally experienced. This is by no means an exhaustive list, so be sure to sound off with your favorites in the comments below. Without further ado, here are my choices for the top 10 best combat designs in gaming. Number 10, Action Commands, Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. Turn-based combat is valued more for strategy and flashy animations than dexterity-based skill. While there is entertainment value in clever planning, funneling all your eggs into the cerebral basket can grind into tedium across 50+ hour RPGs. Paper Mario shirks this trend via action commands, asking the player to complete a variety of small dexterity and reaction-based challenges per move. Mario leaps with the classic jump, getting a double damage hit if you press A precisely as he lands. He can opt for the hammer instead, asking you to tilt the analog stick left, then release it at the right time. These are built upon in more powerful variations with trickier timing. These commands extend to your allies, who showcase even greater variety. Coop's Shell Toss asks you to release the analog stick at a variable time, Vivian uses a face button instead of stick flicks, and Yoshi asks you to Mega Mash your trigger for extra butt bombs. Going even further, there are hidden stylish prompts to let you show off mid-combat for bonus star power, which fuels Mario's most powerful abilities. You can even press A right before getting hit to increase your defense and evade status ailments. None of these commands are mandatory for success, but they add an engaging layer to combat that pays dividends in entertainment, potency, and utility. It may seem minor in the grand scheme, but over dozens of turn-based hours, dexterity-based challenges keep combat feeling fresh. Number 9, Precision Aim: Stranglehold. A highly stylized shoot-'em-up, Stranglehold puts smokin' sexy style at the forefront of protagonist Tequila's toolkit. Stylish kills fill your Tequila Bomb gauge. These include executions under bullet time, using the environment to smashing success, grinding your foes to a pulp, or surfing on a dinner cart to serve a mouthful of lead. After showboating to success, the Tequila Bomb gauge provides potent special abilities. My personal favorite is Precision Aim. Any weapon transforms into a super slow-mo sniper, giving you a front row seat from bullet path to collision, and the resulting hilarious reactions. Headshots may be the obvious go-to, but I found it most fun to bust some balls. In fact, busting balls is about all I wanted to do. Drown me in tequila and bomb the dong death taxes and bullets coming out your asses. I didn't even buy this game until a year after release. I was too busy playing the demo, endlessly unleashing sax salvos. My career as the Dong Slayer was merely the beginning of a seriously wacky combat system. I love campy, overpowered abilities like this that prioritize fun above all, but it still has great balance, requiring style to get your enemy's manhood in a stranglehold. Number 8. A sound that needs no introduction. There is no singular ability more satisfying to pull off than a Soulsborne parry. An all-or-nothing gambit to flip the defensive script for an unprecedented opening, parrying puts your quick twitch skills on the line against the game's most terrorizing foes. While Precision Aim provides tremendously satisfying visual flair, and the action commands of Paper Mario demand precise inputs, parrying in Souls requires rigid execution for rewarding feedback. A strong sound, a shield slap, followed by savagely skewering your fallen adversary. It took me ages to master the parry. Even at the apex of my own skill, there's still an ever-present adrenaline rush anytime I wave an attack away for the game's most gratifying opening. Evolving beyond momentary magic, let's shift focus to stringing together multiple attacks, becoming powerhouses with proper inputs. This is the gravitas of the combo, a fighting genre staple with far-reaching applications. In the early Soulsborne games, there wasn't much emphasis on crossing the streams of your light and heavy attacks in a meaningful way. Each separate style restarted your stance and acted indifferent to what came before. Combos were limited to automatic strings in these individual lanes. In Bloodborne, transformation weapons break this boundary through fluid shifts mid-combo. Not only does this open expansive combo routes, light to heavy variations, and vice versa, it also add split-second strategy to gain the distinct advantages of each form. Take the starter cane for example, a high-speed beating stick in single combat that opens into a whip for crowd control and serrated potency against beasts. The classic example in speedruns is the saw cleaver, doing bonus damage to beasts, heavier damage for open and closed slices, and massive beast gauge generation. The downside is greater downtime between each strike, higher damage cost, and the longer animation locks. To make the most of transformation weapons, you need to understand the movesets of both forms, their specific advantages, and the right timing to unleash transformation attacks. Bloodborne may suffer in build variety over its contemporaries, but the price is well worth the added complexity each weapon brings to battle. Number 6, Freeflow, Batman Arkham. I believe there's a correlation between player expression in combat, balanced complexity, and the satisfaction it provides. Batman Arkham's free flow system is often maligned for being on rails, but I find that to be its strength. You have a set kit: punches, counters, jumps, cape stuns, gadgets, and more as the game progresses. A multiplier tracks how long you can keep a combination of these skills going, with bonuses for using different abilities per combo. Yes, you can get through combat by punching your way to victory and hopping like a bat bunny over everybody, but it'll bore you to tears. I learned this lesson more than ever when I mashed through Devil May Cry with a single button back in the day. It works, and while I won't fault anyone for playing how they want to, you miss out on the full extent of a game's greatness when you refuse to experiment and challenge yourself to excel. Free flow allows for solid expression within well-defined limits. One of the Arkham franchise's most underrated features are the challenge maps. Within, you're able to set personal bests to compare against the world, showing off how well you can master each challenge and rack up a monstrous score. It's no surprise this combat innovation has seen many renditions since its inception, but it's never been in better hands than the Cape Crusaders. Funneling harder into combat within well-defined limits, Final Fantasy XIV's rotations find strength in their rigid execution. Contrary to the free flow system, rewarding you for stringing together an inconsistent pattern as long as it follows a steady rhythm, the rotations that define each job in 14 maximize damage along a single, objective route. At a glance, I used to dismiss MMOs with Q-based actions. Combat lacking quick twitch precision, instead relying on sequencing actions off a sluggish timer, seemed far from my cup of tea. I have 14 to thank for correcting my ill-conceived assumptions. I looked over how strict execution is within those set abilities. Most jobs have anywhere from 10 to 20 damage actions, some weapon skills that operate on a global cooldown of 2.5 seconds, others off global actions you can weave in between. However, with animation locks on everything, queuing at the right time to keep your GCD spinning is vital. The more you practice your ABCs, always be casting, the more damage you're racking up. In fact, someone who presses the wrong buttons but keeps their GCD rolling will often pump more DPS than someone who executes the proper order too slowly. What this creates is a thrilling dance to keep up time, roll your rotation properly, and keep your cooldowns aligned so you can make the most of massive 2-minute burst windows. All of this focus is played against combat's reliance on dodging the floor is lava AoEs, or puzzle mechanics charging cerebral rent while you maintain your rotation. The peak comes in Savage and Ultimate raids, where the hardest mechanics and irregular downtime challenge players to maximize their kit in unorthodox situations. It feels like calculating pi to a dozen decimals while tap dancing on your keyboard, all while coordinating a team of 8 people to pull off this dance optimally against godlike foes. Pushing the photo finish and rage timers that conclude these fights is bliss when you know your rotational competency helped your team overcome that hurdle. Coming from someone who is biased toward traditional action, Final Fantasy XIV changed the way I think about combat systems. For that, it's one of my personal favorites of all time. Of course, we've got 4 more entries to go, and it's only getting greater from here. Number 4, Combo Strings, Dragon Ball FighterZ. We can hardly praise combos without giving respect to their origins. Fighting games take rigid button inputs to new heights. The expression players can showcase is unparalleled as a result. From simple strings anyone can pull off, to astronomically tight wombo combos leaving your opponent helpless. While I've dabbled in Tekken, Soul Calibur, and Mortal Kombat over the years, I didn't take my forays beyond mindless button mashing until Dragon Ball FighterZ. FighterZ is a great entry level into the genre thanks to its auto combos. By pressing the light, medium, or heavy buttons in quick succession, the game will put together a full combo for you. The strength here is twofold, allowing new players a base point to compete, and introducing them to the nuances of combo structure. The catch is, these combos do significantly less damage than creating your own. To do so, FighterZ allows 1 homing super dash and 2 jumps per combo. For an unbreakable combo, you need to manage hit stun and proper inputs within these restraints. Using each character's strengths, combos are built through punch, kicks, ki blast, blasts, grabs, assists, you name it. Combos often end in supers, using the resource generation from the basic hits for a powerful finisher. The pinnacle of this process is the TOD, or Touch of Death combo, meaning the moment you begin, you take an opponent from full HP to KO without a single break. The skill to pull these off against live opponents is unreal. Time invested in training to be the strongest well captures the spirit of Dragon Ball, far more than most shovelware the franchise puts out. Your time spent online against the world is your own personal tournament of power, one that rewards effort exponentially. It's thanks to fighting games like these that combos have bled into the action games we love. I'm grateful for FighterZ' newbie-friendly approach, letting me see the depth to becoming the best brawler around. Number 3, Style System, Devil May Cry 5. If fighting human opponents isn't up your alley, but true combo potential is, Devil May Cry's smokin' sexy combat might be your style. Borrowing combo methodology from fighting games, DMC applies grades to your performance that awards you with an increased currency and, more importantly, bragging rights. It blends together the tricky inputs of fighting combos with free flow variation encouragement through different weapons, range tools, and mixed combo routes to make combat extremely engaging. As your grade flies from D tier to triple S, hearing the soundtrack vocals kick in as the volume amplifies cements a satisfying skill progression. Once again, I still thank my viewers to this day for calling out my lazy play in the early Devil May Cry games. It gave me a genuine appreciation for how rewarding reaching the pinnacle of stylish combat can be. DMC's graded style is a reminder to not tunnel solely on the finish line, but how exciting you make the journey toward it. Number 2, Run and Gun, Doom Eternal. Where Devil May Cry takes advantage of score to amplify action, Doom relies on the mastery of movement, aim, and split-second strategy to throttle adrenaline into the 666th gear. Combat involving firearms revolves around avoiding enemy fire, typically through finding cover or flanking your opponent. Doom uses rapid motion to simulate both of these, using active cover as you dash through an arena, flanking enemies as you take these strategic paths. Blending evasion into a constant thought on how to create advantageous positions is thrilling. You run on ever-increasing tension, racing around to get the drop on deadly demons, unleashing one of the most creative arsenals in any shooter. Doom's run and gun style is entertaining action at its finest, hands down my favorite in an FPS, highlighted further by its phenomenal level, weapon, and enemy design. But as much love as I have for it, nothing beats my favorite combat design, Sekiro's Deflection Dance. Sekiro's emphasis on blurring the line between offense and defense by chipping away at your enemy's posture is a brilliant balancing act that perfectly emulates swordplay. Sekiro takes the signature FromSoft all-or-nothing parry timing, increases the error margin, and applies it as the core of Sekiro's combat. It takes the emphasis off of dodge rolls and blocking, and instead demands deflections against the vast majority of enemy attacks. Consistent deflects gradually shatter enemy posture, allowing you to claim victory with a death blow when broken. It is possible to fully reduce HP via well-timed direct hits, but the enemies are just as ready to deflect as you are. Through fast-paced defensive dances backed by FromSoft's unforgiving difficulty, an electrifying combat system is born. I've never felt as badass in a game as when I go blow for blow with Ishin the Sword Saint, imposing my will against his rapid yet irregular strikes. Each deflection is a reflection of skill, a tapestry of effort that applies your mastery to exponential satisfaction. Whether commanding the actions of my paper party, precision ball busting, unleashing my inner giant dad, transforming the combo game, free-flowing on my foes, rotationally roasting raids, racking up touch-of-death combos, smoking sexy stylin', doom slaying demons, or dancing in deflection bliss, combat is the lifeblood of my love for gaming action. I hope you enjoyed a look into my favorites. I'd love to hear some of yours in the comments below. I'll see you next time with a contrary list of some of the worst combat designs in games.